People usually think losing weight is about half diet and half exercise, but both of those combined are only about 25% of it. Another 25% is good quality sleep, and the other 50%, the part everyone likes to ignore, is actually doing what you said you would. Luckily, if you start a diet right now, there is a way, an easy way, to make it almost impossible to fail. Step one is to weaponize your inspiration. There's always a spark that makes you decide you want to change. It's usually seeing someone else who's way more fit than you, or catching a glimpse of yourself in a bad picture. Either way, inspiration is strong, but it only ever lasts for about 24 hours before it's gone. So before that spark dies, you immediately need a realistic goal that you can measure, as well as a strict deadline. For example, I'm going to lose 5 pounds by July 1st and another 5 pounds by August 1st. That is something you can measure, and it gives your brain a checkpoint to keep you moving forward. Once the goal is set, step two is to create a detailed, realistic plan and redesign your environment to match it. Your plan might just be to replace your daily breakfast of milk, sugary granola, and a peanut butter jelly sandwich with a 1-mile jog followed by a bowl of 15 big strawberries and 3 boiled eggs. Believe it or not, this single change is more than enough to drop multiple pounds of pure fat in just a few weeks. But just having the plan on paper isn't enough. You need to set your environment up so that following the plan requires zero brain power. You have to buy the strawberries, boil the eggs the night before, and lay your running clothes out by the bed. When you wake up, the easiest choice in the room should be sticking to the plan. If you don't boil the eggs and you keep buying peanut butter and grape jelly and putting them at the front of the fridge where it's the first thing you see, let's be honest, you don't actually intend to stick to your diet. You're just looking forward to that one day when you give in and make your high-calorie breakfast again. If you want to make it easy to eat healthy, you have to make it hard to eat junk food. Of course, that's easy to say, but no matter how much you try to avoid looking at junk food, you need to expect the hard times. Like when you accidentally trip and fall face first into a booth at IHOP. You look at the menu, see that every single item is over 1,000 calories, and get the temptation to say 5 of the most dangerous words in diet history. Choose your fighter. Option A, one cheat meal won't hurt. Option B, I'll actually start dieting tomorrow. Never do this. Option C, I just won't eat later. Or option D, maybe I'll just start bulking. It's times like this when you need willpower, which is just the ability to tell yourself no. You can build up your willpower by anticipating all the excuses you're going to make and practicing saying no to them in advance. You can even practice walking away from bad choices. But keep in mind that willpower isn't infinite. You can't always rely on it, which is why your absolute best bet is avoiding the temptation in the first place. Eventually, the real cheat code to motivation is doing something for so long that it becomes a habit. If you can get to the point where you wake up and automatically go outside for a jog and automatically reach for the strawberries and boiled eggs, the plan becomes 100 times easier to follow. Eventually, you might even start to like eating healthy and exercising, at which point, like for many other people, it's no longer a lifestyle choice, it's your entire personality. And that is the ultimate goal. Now let's move on to step 3, mastering the basic math of fat loss. To start, there's no real accurate way to track your changes besides progress pictures and weighing yourself. For progress pictures, just know you won't see much change in the first few weeks, or even the first few months. Your body prioritizes losing fat from internal places you probably can't see first. But once you finally start seeing visual progress, it accelerates and becomes noticeable very quickly. To accurately measure this, step on a scale once every morning. Just know that your weight can fluctuate wildly day to day based on water weight or the types of foods you ate. You might lose a pound of fat, but the scale won't show it right away. So instead of stressing over day-to-day progress, look at your average week-to-week progress. You've probably heard that to lose fat over time, you have to eat fewer calories than you burn. If your body burns 2,000 calories a day, eating 1,700 calories a day will make you lose fat. Your body is forced to use energy from your fat reserves and a teeny tiny bit of muscle to cover that 300-calorie deficit. If you drop your calories even lower to 1,500 or 1,200 a day, you'll lose fat faster, but at the expense of it being way more miserable to maintain. The traditional way to figure this out is to use an online calorie calculator. Activity level, sedentary, why lie? Eat around that calculated number every day as a starting point. But keep in mind, this number can be way off since everyone has a different metabolism, especially people dealing with hormonal issues like high cortisol, low estrogen, low testosterone, or low thyroid function. The best way to know for sure is to test that number for a few weeks. If your weight isn't moving, drop your daily calories by another 200 to 300. If you ever hit a plateau where you haven't lost weight for a week, either reduce the calories again or add in some more exercise. In theory, this method can't fail. The only problem is you have to count exactly what you eat using nutrition labels, tracking apps, mental math, and food scales that measure your food in grams. If you're American, you might not be familiar with the metric system, but you don't have to worry. The McDonald's menu already has the calorie counts written out for you. Anyway, you can get away with just roughly estimating your calories, but this only works if you play it safe and round everything up like crazy. If you think it's 300 calories, it's probably 500. If you think it's 800 calories, it's probably 1,000. And if you think it's too small to count, it's probably at least 50. Before we look at how to do this without tracking anything at all, we need to talk about macronutrients. For most weight loss purposes, all you really need to look at are calories and protein. You need a certain amount of protein, a baseline amount of fats, and then you can fill the rest of your calories with whatever you want. Just make sure not to overeat fats like oils, sauces, salad dressings, butter, nuts, and cheese. Even though these are healthy in moderation, fats contain 9 calories per gram. This means one single pack of trail mix has about 3 times the calories of a dying neutron star. Also, when experts say carbs cause weight gain, they aren't talking about fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. They're talking about refined, highly processed carbs that are stripped of their nutrients, especially foods with added sugars. You'll notice this list is basically the entire grocery store. These foods are unnaturally delicious, incredibly easy to overeat, packed with calories, and they end up making you hungrier later. Of course, you can still eat them every day and lose weight if you stay in a calorie deficit, which is why some people love to brag about how they eat a family-sized box of Reese's Puffs every day and still lose weight. What they don't tell you is that they have a burning, empty void in their stomach for 23 hours a day. Their blood work comes back with just a giant crying emoji, and simply adding milk to their cereal takes them out of their deficit, so they have to use water. That brings us to step 4, the zero tracking protocol. How to lose fat without counting a single calorie. The number one trick is volume swapping. Start slowly swapping out processed junk and refined carbs for fruits, vegetables, lean dairy, lean protein, and whole grains. These foods are so filling and nutrient-dense that you can sit in a calorie deficit every day without feeling hungry. Don't believe me? This is 200 calories of Oreos, and this is 200 calories of strawberries. To make this zero-tracking protocol bulletproof, we can break the best fat loss hacks into 3 simple categories. Category A is fluid manipulation. First, stop drinking your calories. It's way easier to drink 500 calories of soda, juice, or bubble tea than it is to eat them. Second, drown the hunger. Keep a giant water bottle next to you. Half the time you think you're hungry, a quick drink of water completely wipes out the craving. And third, use diet sodas. Zero-calorie diet sodas are a literal cheat code when you have an intense sweet craving. Category B is the volume illusion. Use low-calorie swaps like low-fat shredded cheese, keto bread, cauliflower rice, egg whites, and powdered peanut butter. Dress your food carefully, too. You can make healthy food taste amazing with zero-calorie condiments, spices, and sauces. Just don't overuse them. The tastier your food is, the more cravings you'll get for more tasty food. Also, shrink your dinnerware. Use smaller plates in smaller bowls. It psychologically tricks your brain into feeling full faster. Category C is timing and damage control. Stop snacking. Most people snack out of boredom, stress, or thirst, not hunger. Cut the snacks, and over time the urge completely disappears, allowing you to develop a slight feeling of, "I'm better than everyone else," to keep you motivated. Next, control your windows. Try intermittent fasting by restricting your eating to a 4 to 8 hour window. Hunger comes and goes in waves. If you just wait a little bit, the wave passes. And finally, the golden rule. If you mess up and eat junk food, don't use it as an excuse to destroy the whole week. Messing up wasn't part of the plan, but giving up was never part of the plan either. Finally, step 5, activating your lifestyle multipliers. Let's talk about exercise. Diet handles the fat loss, but exercise burns extra calories, improves your health, and gives you perspective. Once you experience what it actually takes to burn 200 calories on a treadmill, you are much less likely to casually pop open a 200-calorie bag of chips. Remember the 3 rules for exercise. 1. Lift weights. This builds muscle and actively increases your baseline metabolism. 2. Go on walks. Getting 10,000 steps a day is a fundamental cheat code for burning extra fat without exhausting yourself. And 3. Do cardio. If standard cardio is boring, try high-intensity interval training or circuit workouts on YouTube. Some gym bros claim 15-minute YouTube workouts don't work, but remember, an imperfect workout you actually do will always beat a perfect 2-hour routine you skip entirely. But even if your diet and training are flawless, it means absolutely nothing without the ultimate foundation: good quality sleep. Sleep regulates your hormones, and when it comes to fat loss, your hormones determine everything. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't have to worry about that. I already get great sleep. But if you're waking up tired, scrolling on your phone in the dark, or crashing at 3 p.m., your hormones are actively fighting your diet. Once you turn these steps into automatic habits, healthy living stops being a chore and simply becomes your identity. If you want to make sure your next fitness decision isn't your last, hit that subscribe button.